Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining me. BigDaddyBigz here through the Bible in a year. This is January the 3rd, 2019. And what we're starting with today is Genesis chapter 9. And we'll be going through Genesis chapter 12. I hope this is a blessing to you. And let's get started. Covenant with Noah's descendants. Oh, by the way, this is the Tree of Life version of the Bible. Covenant with Noah's descendants. God blessed Noah and his sons, and he said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the land. The fear and terror of you will be on every wild animal and on every flying creature of the sky, with everything that crawls on the ground, and with all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are given. Every crawling thing that is alive will be food for you, as are the green plants. I have now given you everything. Only flesh with its life, that is, its blood, you must not eat. Surely your lifeblood will I avenge. From every animal and from every person will I avenge it. From every person's brother will I avenge that person's life. The one who sheds human blood, by a human will his blood be shed. For in God's image he was made humanity. But as for you, be fruitful and multiply. Flourish in the land and multiply in it." Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, "Behold, now I am about to establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, including the flying creatures and the livestock and every wild animal with you, of all that is coming out of the ark, every animal of the earth. I will confirm my covenant with you. Never again will all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again will there be a flood to ruin the land." Then God said, "This is the sign of the covenant that I am making between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. My rainbow do I place in the cloud, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the land. Whenever I bring clouds over the land, and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the rainbow is in the cloud, I will look at it to remember the perpetual covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the land." Then God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have confirmed between me and all flesh that is on the land." Dispersion of Noah's family. Noah's sons who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were Noah's sons, and from these the whole earth dispersed. Then Noah, a man of the soil, was first to plant a vineyard. He drank some of the wine, got drunk, and was uncovered in his tent. Then Ham, Canaan's father, saw his father's private parts and told his two brothers outside. So Shem and Japheth took the cloak and laid it over both their shoulders, and walked backwards, and with it covered their father's private parts. But their faces were turned away, so they did not see their father's private parts. When Noah woke up from his wine, he learned what his youngest son had done to him. So he said, "Cursed is Canaan, the lowest slave will he be to his brothers." He also said, "Blessed be Adonai, God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth. May he dwell in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be his slave." Now Noah lived 350 years after the flood. So all Noah's days were 950 years. Then he died. Chapter 10. And these are the genealogical records of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. Japheth's sons were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yavan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. Gomer's sons were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. Yavan's sons were Elisha and Tarshish, Kittites and Dodanites. From these the coastlands of the nations spread out in their lands, each one according to his language, according to their families, into their nations. Ham's sons were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Cush's sons were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabtika, and Raamah's sons were Sheba and Dedan. Now Cush fathered Nimrod. He started to become mighty in the land. He was a mighty hunter before Adonai. This is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Adonai. The beginning of his kingdom included Babel, Iraq, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From that land he went out to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehovot, Kalal, and Rezan between Nineveh and Calah. It is the great city. Mizraim fathered the Ludites and Anamites and Lehabites and Nephtutites and Pathruzites and Kaluhites, from whom came the Philistines and the Caphtorites. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, and the Jebusite, the Amorite, and Girgashite, the Hivite, and the Arkite, the Sinite, the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, and afterwards the Canaanite families were scattered. Now the Canaanite border was from Zidon, as you go toward Gerar, as far as Gaza, as you go toward Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These are Ham's sons according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands, in their nations. Sons were also born to Shem, who was Japheth's older brother, and the father of all the sons of Eber. Shem's sons were Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. Aram's sons were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. 2 sons were born to Eber. The name of the first was Peleg, because in his days the land was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan fathered Elmodad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All of these were Joktan's sons. Their dwelling place was from Mesha till you come toward Sephar, the eastern hill country. These are Shem's sons according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah, according to their genealogies in their nations, and from these nations were dispersed on the earth after the flood. Chapter 11. Tower of Babel. Now the entire earth had the same language with the same vocabulary. When they traveled eastward, they found a valley plain in the land of Shinar, settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them until they're hard." So they used bricks for stone and tar and mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city with a tower whose top reaches into heaven. So let's make a name for ourselves, or else we will be scattered over the face of the whole land." Then Adonai came down to see the city and the tower that the sons of man had built. Adonai said, "Look, the people are one, and all of them have the same language. So this is what they have begun to do. Now nothing they plan to do will be impossible. Come, let us go down and confuse their language there, so that they will not understand each other's language." So Adonai scattered them from there over the face of the entire land, and they stopped building the city. This is why it is named Babel, because Adonai confused the language of the entire world there. And from there Adonai scattered them over the face of the entire world. From Shem to Abram. These are the genealogical records of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he fathered Arpachshad, 2 years after the flood. Shem lived 500 years after he fathered Arpachshad, and he fathered sons and daughters. Arpachshad lived 35 years when he fathered Shelah. Arpachshad lived 403 years after he fathered Shelah, and fathered sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years, and he fathered Eber. Shelah lived 403 years after he fathered Eber, and fathered sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years, and he fathered Peleg. Eber lived 430 years after he fathered Peleg, and he fathered sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years, and he fathered Reu. Peleg lived 209 years after he fathered Reu, and he fathered sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years, and he fathered Serug. Reu lived 207 years after he fathered Serug, and he fathered sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years after he fathered Nahor. Serug lived 200 years after he fathered Nahor, and he fathered sons and daughters. Nahor lived 27 years, and he fathered Terah. Nahor lived 119 years after he fathered Terah, and he fathered sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years when he fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. These are Terah's genealogies. Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran fathered Lot. Haran died before Terah his father in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, father of Milcah and Iscah. Sarai was barren. She did not have a child. Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, Haran's son, his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and he took them out of Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Terah's days were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. Abram obeys the calling. Then Adonai said to Abram, "Get going out of your land, and from your relatives, and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. My heart's desire is to make you into a great nation, to bless you, to make your name great, so that you may be a blessing. My desire is to bless those who bless you. But whoever curses you, I will curse, and in all the families of the earth will be blessed. In you, all the families of the earth will be blessed." So Abram went, just as Adonai had spoken to him. Also Lot went with him. Now Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his nephew, and all their possessions that they had acquired, and the people that they acquired in Haran, and they left to go to the land of Canaan. And they entered the land of Canaan. Abram passed through the land as far as the place of Shechem, as far as Moreh's big tree. The Canaanites were in the land then. Then Adonai appeared to Abram and said, I will give this land to your seed. So there he built an altar to Adonai, who had appeared to him. From there he moved to the mountain of the east of Bethel, and erected his tent, with Bethel to the west, and Ai to the east. There he built an altar to Adonai, and called on the name of Adonai. So Abram kept on journeying southward. Abram and Sarai in Egypt. Now there was a famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to live as an outsider there, because the famine was severe in the land. Just as he was about to enter Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, Look, please, I know that you are an attractive woman. So when the Egyptians see you, they'll say, This is his wife, and they'll kill me, but you they'll let live. Please say that you are my sister, so that I'll be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you. When Abram came to Egypt, the Egyptians did see that the woman was very beautiful. Indeed, Pharaoh's officials saw her, and they raved about her to Pharaoh. Then the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. But Abram was treated well for her sake, and he got sheep, cattle, male donkeys, male and female slaves, female donkeys, and camels. But Adonai struck Pharaoh and his household with great plagues because Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh called Abram and said, What's this that you did to me? Why didn't you tell me that she is your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now here is your wife, take and go. Then Pharaoh instructed men concerning him, and they expelled him with his wife and everything that belonged to him. Y'all join us tomorrow. Thank you for being here.